What to do when you want to quit. Find out on this episode of Authentic Selling TV. The longer you work, whether you're in a corporate job, whether you're running your own thing, there are going to be days when you want to quit. So let's just acknowledge that every day is not, I'm the queen of the world. But what to do when you feel like I might want to burn it all down. I might want to walk away. I might want to give up, throw in the towel, be done with this. So let's just acknowledge, first of all, there are legitimately times when you need to quit. There are times when you're in the wrong thing. A lot of us running our own business quit a corporate job. So there are times that you want to quit. But let's back up just a little bit. Because there are, first of all, warning signs. Warning signs for you to be aware of that you're headed towards wanting to quit. Now, there may be a good reason for you wanting to quit. But let's assume that you're like me. Let's assume that you've started this business, that you love this business, that you're proud of this business, that you've spent a decade of your life in this business, and you're probably not going to quit. But you feel like you want to quit. Like, that's not a good place to be. So the first thing, before you even get to that point, is realize that goals change. People change. In the 12 years I've run this business, I have had every kind of goal known to man. When I first started, my goal was to replace my pharmaceutical sales income. Then my next goal was $1 million by 40, $1 million by 40, $1 million by 40. And that goal, everybody knew that goal. Even Hallianna drew a freaking thing at school of her mom and it said $1 million by 40 on it. I was so driven. Everybody knew my goal. Talk about writing it down. I was obsessive about it. And at the time, I think it felt good, although probably, if I'm being really honest, I was exhausted, so probably didn't feel all that good. But $1 million by 40, $1 million by 40, $1 million by 40, great, we hit that goal. And on the other side of that goal, I was exhausted. So then the goals become, how do you work smarter, not harder? Right? Making money, how do you work smarter, not harder? So you can see that the target's sort of moving, right? All I wanted to do was replace my pharmaceutical sales income. All I wanted to do was hit $1 million by 40. All I wanted to do was hit $1 million by 41 and not be exhausted, not be burned out. And over the course of the following 7, 8, 9, 10 years, the targets have moved a lot. I've tried a lot of different things. I am all for a new broom sweeps clean. It's new. This is the best thing ever. And then 4 weeks later, you're like, God, my floor looks dirtier than it's ever looked. That new broom doesn't sweep so clean anymore. So I've tried a lot. Some of it's worked. Some of it's some of it's not worked. Some of it's failed miserably. And it's all in this kind of elusive chase of the balance of running a business, making money, helping others, creating this incredible life for my family, doing something that lights me up and also doesn't burn me out. And the longer that you're in this industry or the longer that you're selling anything, you're going to butt up against this. So before we talk about what to do when you want to quit, let's talk about warning signs that you're getting dangerously close to wanting to quit, wanting to burn it all down. Because that means that something needs to change. I would rather you not get to the place where you want to quit. I would rather you say, oh, here are all those things that sassy Southern redhead talked about. What do I do now? So if you find yourself bitter, oh my gosh, I've got 14 clients today. I don't want to talk to them. They're driving me bananas. If you find yourself bitter, you might be on the road to burnout or wanting to quit. Now, I'm not a burnout expert, so I want to be clear here. I'm not a burnout expert. Not my lane, stay in it, but I'm going to talk about what this means in terms of running a business and selling. If you find yourself looking around and doing that compare and despair thing, I'm not talking about the compare and despair thing we do when we start in this industry. I'm talking about Everybody works so much less than I do. They're just manifesting their way to millions. Why doesn't that work for me? What do you mean she's selling coaching for $50,000? Who's buying that? Like, if you find yourself having these conversations with yourself, you're probably dangerously close to a place you don't want to be. If you find yourself dreading going to work in the mornings, you are probably dangerously close to that place you don't want to be. What is that place? That place of, I'm better off selling drugs, the legal kind. I'm just going to go back to pharmaceutical sales, or I'm just going to quit, or I'm just going to cut my losses, or this doesn't work for me, or I'm not smart enough to do this, or, it worked for everybody else, but it's not going to work for me. So if you can recognize before you get to wanting to burn it all down, before you get to wanting to quit, before you have this existential crisis of what the heck am I going to do with my life now, that's a good thing. So recognize these warning signs, right? If you are like me and you see those warning signs after the fact, then what do you do? What do you do? You ask yourself one of the best business questions I have ever asked myself in my life, in my 12 years of doing this. What would make you happy? Now, I know, that's kind of a funny question because I roll. If I knew, I'd be doing it. Hello. It's like, I always hated it when coaches told me to have more fun. Have more fun and you'll make more money. I don't even know what fun feels like anymore. That's a sign. I'm on the bad path. So what would make you happy? I'm going to give you some examples. So a few years ago, I was trying all the things. Again, tried a lot, failed a lot. Trying all the things. Some of you may remember this. I'd made a lot of changes to things that I didn't feel good about, all in the name of growth, all in the name of scale, all in the name of, work less hard, make more money, help more people, all the things. And I was miserable. I was more scattered than I've ever been, which I'm pretty scattered on a good day. I was more scattered than I've ever been. I was doing things that I loathed. I was checking boxes here, checking boxes there, E-I-E-I-O. It was bad. And I just was like, the insanity's got to stop. Stop. I literally was on a train that was going 100 miles an hour and I pulled the emergency thing and was like, I wasn't literally, but figuratively, I was on a train going 100 miles an hour and I just pulled the emergency thing and said, we've got to stop. We got to get off here. Because whatever goal I'm chasing has changed. Whoever this person was that wanted all of these things, a $10 million business or whatever, yeah, that'd be nice. But if this is what it takes, I don't want it. So the goal changed, but the plan didn't change. Right? I'm still on this change going 100 miles an hour towards $10 million. And I'm like, no, I'm miserable. Blake even told me, you need to go back to pharmaceutical sales. I've never seen you this unhappy. Well, dang. I'm busting my butt. I'm working hard. I'm spending money. I've dedicated 11 years to this business. And now my husband says, I'd rather you just go back to your corporate job because you're so unhappy. Talk about a wake-up call. Talk about a moment where I needed to be like, WTF, what is going on here? So, and I'm not saying, oh, woe is me. Get out your violin. I made a lot of money and I was tired and working too hard. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is I had changed as a person. I didn't want what I initially started out wanting, but I didn't know enough to change the plan. So I'm on this train going in the wrong direction and I don't know how to get off. And so I was bitter. I was jealous. I did do the compare and despair. My God, they're charging $50,000 for coaching? Well, who the hell's paying them? What's going on here? I was jealous, right? They take 7 months off? What? No, they don't. I don't believe that. Not who I want to be as a person, not my finest moment, but it's true and it's transparent. So the goals changed. And the way that I got out of that situation was to ask myself, what would make you happy? What would make you happy? Well, family is my top value. So I got a few years left with Hallianna before she goes off to chase her dreams. I want as much time with Hallianna as possible. But I was spending, 14 hours a day working. So no wonder I was unhappy. Financial security is really important to me. But I was giving all my money to everybody else because I was chasing this dream and thought that I needed a huge team to make it happen. So it's no wonder I was unhappy. Doing work that lights me up, that I believe in, is my third value. But I didn't want this anymore. I was afraid to admit I didn't want this in the way that I was doing it anymore. So what lights you up led me to, what are your top 3 values? And in this industry, we do a lot of work on our values, right? Like I guarantee you, most of you have done work on what your values are. And the way I was working was not in alignment with my values, thus creating unhappiness. Now, maybe 9 years ago when I started, things were different. But at this point, I was on a train heading in the wrong direction and I didn't know how to get off. And I didn't get off gracefully. I yanked that figurative, stopped the train. I ran so far the other way. I had months where I didn't, and I was lucky and privileged to be able to do this because I have worked my butt off and for other reasons where I was like, I'm just not working. I'm so confused and so distraught over, I've spent all this time building this business that I loathe, that I want to quit. I don't know what to do, so I just didn't work. And I do get the privilege in that. I understand that. But that's where I was. I had conversations about quitting. I had conversations about just shutting it all down. But there was something inside of me. There's that fighter inside of me that just couldn't do it because that wasn't what I truly wanted. You see, I like the things that this business affords my family to be able to do. I like filming and getting to feel, getting to be creative and do that stuff. And so I didn't want to let it go. Like when I got really quiet, I was really clear that the way I was running this business was out of alignment with what I valued. It was making me unhappy. But I didn't want to let it go. I wasn't ready to do something else. And so I went back to, okay, great. Now that you know that, what would make you happy? What would make you happy? And I've done some pretty radical things since then. So we did the Broadway Cares event. We during the middle of a global pandemic, we had, a dozen of the world's top Broadway performers put on a virtual concert for you. I got to work with people that are my literal legends and crushes and people I've dreamed about partnering with for years. That made me happy. We also got to raise 6 figures for a charity that I believe in. That made me happy. I redid the website, which in the moment did not make me happy, but I'm proud when I look at the website. That made me happy. I partnered with the Boy Band Project to create an incredible opt-in called I Want It 10 Ways, which if you haven't seen it, you better get on our list because it's incredible. You've never seen anything like this in the online industry. Guaranteed. This is not one of those, you've never seen it. We got a legit music video to teach you a sales tool that is going to rock your world. It's going to help you close more sales. So get on the list because it's awesome. It will make you smile. We're talking about doing an entire authentic selling album. I don't know if that'll come to pass, but all of these tools that I teach, the Dr. Dre tool, the Prince tool, the New Kids on the Block tool, all the things. We're talking about doing an entire album with some of my favorite celebrities teaching you those tools. That makes me happy. And we cut out the noise. I decided I'm not going to be everywhere all the time. I'm not going to engage on 18 social media platforms. You've probably heard me tell this story. I'm going to go all in on YouTube because I like it, because that's what I use. I'm going to do some more corporate speaking gigs because I like it and I'm good at it. And I'm not going to be so driven to hit some obscure number that makes me miserable. Instead, I'm going to have different quotas. The quota changed, but the plans needed to change. The bus needed to stop. Or the train. I needed to get off the train. So, what do you do? Well, number one, if you're already feeling like you want to quit, I'm going to encourage you to get quiet and ask yourself what would make you happy. And if you don't know the answer to that, because I didn't, ask yourself, what are your top 3 values? And does your business support those values? Yes or no? If you answered no, you're on to something. And if the answer to the question, what would make you happy, is the most outlandish, ridiculous thing you've ever thought of, listen to that. Ask yourself, how can I do that in the context of my business, right? I mean, putting on a concert, getting to work with Joe McIntyre from New Kids on the Block and Sierra Boggess from Phantom of the Opera and Norm Lewis and all of those people that I got to work with. I mean, there wasn't a path for that. There wasn't a plan for that. It was literally people on my team was like, you're going to do what? It's like, I don't know how it's going to work, but we're going to do it. I don't know what it's got to do with business, but we're going to figure it out. So even if it's out there and it's outlandish and you don't see how the dots connect, don't discount it. Ask yourself, how can I make the dots connect? And ask yourself, are you chasing a goal or a business idea that you really desperately wanted, but things have changed? You've changed. It's changed. Your dreams have changed. Your values have changed. Get honest, because we're always changing, right? I mean, of course I've changed over the course of the last 12 years. Of course I have. And so what I wanted then isn't what I want now. You have the privilege of being the boss of your own business. You have the privilege of setting forth the vision. You have the privilege of saying, this is how it's going to be. It's gonna be me. Own it. Step into it. Be the boss. Because if you don't create a business and you don't run a business that allows you the time to take off when you need to take off, that allows you the time to take your kid to New York City to see Aaron Tveit in Moulin Rouge, that allows you the money to have some financial freedom, why are we doing this? What's the point? What to do when you want to quit? Have a hard conversation with yourself. Ask yourself these questions. Go back to your values. Do your values line up with the business plan that you're following? Yes or no? That's going to tell you what you need to do. Before you burn it all down, get honest. And before you do that, ring the bell. Ring the bell. Oh, yeah. I believe in you and I believe in your business. Bye, y'all.